I want to do a little look back again. We're 8-9 days into the free agency window, the real meat of the off season. And I think it's enough times passed that we can pass a little judgment on a few teams. But we'll start on the positive note, Colby. I'm going to ask you to give me one team that's trending down in a moment. But what about one team that's trending up? Who's a GM who you want to give some flowers to and say, you know what, in these last 8 to 10 days, they've done a bang up job improving their organization?
I mean, look, I think to me, what Vegas was able to do and get Mitch Marner, I know it was only one piece. They avoid the tampering charges. They get Mitch Marner. Now Jack Eichel has the guy that he has been dying to play with. And I think, you look at the way Eichel skates and the pace that he plays with, and you look at Stone, who is not, he's not the most beautiful looking skater while he's extremely efficient. He just doesn't get up and down the ice at the pace that Jack Eichel has. I also think Bruce Cassidy has a way to get the best out of guys like Mitch Marner. And I believe that, to get him not in free agency, his cap number is only $12 million. I think there was all this talk that he wanted 13, he wanted 14. He didn't care about the 8 years. We heard every philosophy under the sun about Mitch Marner, but I think that is a massive, massive add to this team. I think it brings the youth into a little more youth into that top line. Dorofeev is a guy who's still kind of coming into his own. I think Jack Eichel has become a premier player in the National Hockey League after Connor McDavid. I'm putting him head to head against McDavid every day of the week, and I'm worried because it's McDavid, but I feel a lot better because it's Jack Eichel going head to head against Connor McDavid. So I think Vegas did a great job of making sure they went out, they got their 100-point man. They got a guy who I think is going to complement Jack Eichel really well. And again, where we criticize Marner, he's going to have role models now in Vegas that he's going to have to look in the eye. He's going to have to look Eichel in the eye. He's going to have to look Stone in the eye. Guys that have been through it, they've done it, they've won. You don't have that in Toronto. You've got guys that are more worried about being on the cover of GQ than lifting the Stanley Cup, late in June. So, I like Vegas and what they did bringing in Mitch Marner.
I worry about their blue line a little bit, but there's no doubt the forward group is more prepared to, go toe-to-toe with the Oilers and the other big dogs in the West. I wanted to give some love to the Montreal Canadiens. I think the work that they did for a handful of things, like the Noah Dobson deal, I loved that trade. You sat there and said, you know what, here's a guy who's established, who can carry a blue line, and he's 25. I'm not worried about committing $9.5 million to that guy because he's going to get better. And then Kent Hughes and company, they sat there and said, well, we have a surplus on D. Let's go get Zach Bolduc, add another legitimate 20-goal guy who, again, he's 22. Like, everything they did fit their age range. They got better. They didn't sacrifice a whole bunch of future assets. And here's the other thing I love. They didn't make a mistake. They didn't sit here and go, we made the playoffs, let's go get a big free agent. When they want to upgrade their blue line, they didn't go sign Provorov or Gavrikov. And I know those guys are good defensemen, but they're almost 30. There's a chance that the contracts don't age well. And then you have an albatross on your books as you try to one day sign the Hudsons and the Demidovs. And I just love that they went and improved their team without taking any sort of a risk that could really blow up in their face. So they get my trending up. Trending down, Colby. I'll go first since I let you go first on trending up. I don't understand what the Vancouver Canucks are doing. You bring in Evander Kane for $5 million. You give up a pick to do it, and then you watch Pius Suter go out the door. And it's like, well, hold up. That guy could score 25 goals for you and play in all scenarios and help and be a top 6 centerman. Evander Kane cannot help you down the middle. And now you have Philip Hedl as your second line center, and you're hoping for a Pettersson bounce back. And you just look at their center depth. It's absolutely atrocious. They brought the band back with Besser and Demko, but they got worse, Colby. I don't see a path to Vancouver making the playoffs out west.
Yeah, I don't either. And I got to tell you, I played with Adam Foote, and I'm rooting for him. He was honestly one of the most unreal guys that I ever got to be around in the game of hockey, as far as, just being an awesome vet. So I am praying for his success, but I do think it's going to be really difficult. I mean, you took JT Miller out of that group this past season. You just talked about Pius Suter, who's been on his way. They're slow. I don't like their back end. It's just not a mobile enough group. You're counting on Derek Forbort way too much, in my opinion. Tyler Myers, like, bigger guys slow down more and more as they get older, more than a smaller or more average type of player. Evander Kane, again, doesn't bring a lot of speed to your lineup, can be very effective when he's kind of playing between the whistles. There's no doubt about that. But I'm with you. And when you're looking at Philip Hedl, who has had a lot of injury troubles, and you're counting on him to be on that second line role, it's troubling. I don't understand anything about Vancouver. Who's in charge there? Is it Rutherford? Is it Alvin? I think we all know it's Rutherford, not Alvin. But still, it's just been a very messy situation. And it makes me wonder if Rutherford's going to be the guy who actually ends up dealing with the Quinn Hughes situation that is coming right around the corner.
Yeah. Who did you have trending down over the last 10 days?
Can you just explain to me what the Seattle Kraken are doing? I for the life of me can't figure it out. I mean, again, the Lane Lambert hire was kind of strange to me based on what I heard about the job that he did in New York. Now, granted, Lou Lamoriello is obviously the puppet master for anybody in New York, other than maybe Patrick Waugh. But, I just don't understand. Look who they brought in. I mean, sure, Mason Marchment is a nice player. He definitely hasn't lived up to that contract, but you're not looking at him to really deliver every night offensively. That's a more of a 200-foot, well-rounded type of guy who's also had some injury troubles. Ryan Lindgren can never stay healthy. Freddie Gaudreau, I do like the versatility that he brings. Okay, he's played on the first, second, third, and fourth line during his time in Minnesota, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You move Ron Francis to the corner office. You give Jason Botterill the keys as the general manager. So who's really making the decisions there, Tyler? And I wonder that when I see these president of hockey operations type of promotions happening in front offices. So I for the life of me, man, they've just been average. They continue to be average. They continue to make average moves. Nothing inspiring with their coaching hire. I don't know. I find it hard to see what their plan really is.
It's brutal. I don't get it at all. Even
Are they in the McKenna sweepstakes?
Well, but they're not that terrible. I think they're just going to finish last every year and not have a hope in hell of moving up. And I guess you could say the Islanders got lucky but you can't sit there and be like, well, maybe we'll win the lottery on a 3% chance like the Islanders or whatever the hell it was. It's just it's not going to happen.